welcome to our coverage of Queensland Representative Rugby League. Today from Langlands Park in Brisbane, the annual City versus Country clash. And welcome to Langlands Park. It should be a tremendous match because there's a big carrot in front of all these top players. They are the cream of the Queensland Cup, which we see every week on ABC TV. And they're vying for spots in the Queensland residents team. And so they've really got to be on their best. But let's look firstly, though, at last weekend's results in the Queensland Cup. And an upset with Redcliffe defeating Toowoomba by 18-10. Burleigh beat Central 28-14 in our TV game. A 22-all draw between Wynnum and Souths. West beat Cairns. North 28-8 winners over Logan, and Ipswich beat East by 26 points to 16, a good result for Ipswich. And so the table sees Toowoomba and Redcliffe together on top on 18 points, then East's on 16, Burleigh and North make up the 5 on 14, just out of it Ipswich and Logan on 12, Souths on 11, and then the Comets on 8, Wests, Cairns and Wynnum. But to today's representative clash, and David Wright, this is something the players always look forward to.
They sure do, Jerry. Great rivalry, of course, between City and Country. Actually, I was at a local government conference during the week, and there's plenty of feeling out there from the Country people. They really enjoy the Queensland Cup, and obviously their representative side out here this afternoon to take on City. So plenty of interest in the game, as Jerry said. Great opportunity for these players to represent Queensland at the residents level, but also from a personal point of view, because traditionally there's always a lot of talent scouts at this particular City Country game. So these players could get a chance to represent or even play at the NRL level if they put in a good one this afternoon. There's a couple of players missing from the Country side who'll now play with the Broncos. That's Chris Walker, Bradley Myers, and also Justin Hodges. But a very good outfit. Grant Bell, I'm sure, will have them fired up to have a go at the City Slickers, Jerry.
Yeah, they'll be keen as usual. And Warren Boland, what about City?
Well, Jerry, City have the advantage of combination. There's 7 East players in the side, 4 backs and 3 forwards, and they've got speed to burn in the 3 quarters and at fullback, so they're going to be very exciting to watch once they move the ball. They've got good organising halves, and the forwards are strong as well, particularly in the second row. I'm looking forward to the performance of Matt Bickerstaff and Craig Smith. They're big and they're very mobile. Having said that, the Country side looks strong right across the paddock as well. There's plenty to play for.
And the City side coming out onto the field, led out by their captain, David Baildon. They were beaten by the Metropolitan Sydney team just recently, and so they'll be very keen to play well and beat Country. There's David Baildon, former Gold Coast player, and he went to England and played with Hull, and has been a very, very handy acquisition then for Easts, and playing in the centres here. He's playing on his home ground, of course. And there's the City lineup. David Mulhall from South at fullback, Asiri Lang and Trent Lees on the wings. In the centres, Stephen Bell and David Baildon. The halves, Scott Thorburn and Brett McPherson. And then in the front row, Tyra Hana, George Gatiss and Graham Cotter, Matt Bickerstaff and Craig Smith in the second row. Interestingly, Matt Bickerstaff has been playing at prop here at East. Brendan Lindsay at lock, and they're coached by the former international Tony Curry. So a very impressive lineup there, City, up against their Country cousins, and of course a pretty good lineup there too.
Very good lineup for the Country boys, led out by Grant Adamson, who's had plenty of experience. He's played ARL with the Gold Coast and St George. He now captains the Premiers Burleigh, who have 5 players in the starting lineup for Country, so they'll be able to put a little bit of combination together as well. Adamson leads them out. He's been in great form this season for Burleigh. We saw him play last week against the Comets, and he certainly performed extremely well. His experience this afternoon will be vital for the Country outfit. Let's have a look at this side that'll take the field. Reggie Cressbrook, another player from Burleigh, will play at fullback. Wade Rothery and Justin Lumans, the wingers. Plenty of pace there. Darren Anderson and Scott Williamson in the centres. And then the halves, Adamson, as I said, the skipper with the experience. Jace Van Dyke, the young Toowoomba and Broncos Colt. And then in the forwards, O'Flanagan, Ryan, the young kid in for Kerrod Walters, Busby, Brown, Reynoldson and Parata. The coach is Grant Bell. We should be in for a top game this afternoon.
Referee Rob Alexander rules time on, and the match is underway. City get the first touch of the ball, and it's offloaded immediately and taken forward, I think, by Rahana just across his own 30-metre line. So it's City in red and white going right to left on your screen as the first penalty goes to the City team. Goal post pad probably didn't help the situation there. Now on the other side, Matt Bickerstaff has put it down underneath the goalpost, and City are in. Well, it looked like it was a matter of time. They applied heaps of pressure, and that mistake coming up from Country didn't help their cause, and as a result, City have been able to convert the pressure into points, and they now lead by 4 points to 0 after that try to Bickerstaff.
Good work from City to finally exploit this opportunity close to the try line. That's Bickerstaff getting across. We have a look at the next one. It'll be interesting to see. City just working away. That's caught up. Great opportunity for City to really put some pressure on. George Gaitis tries to go himself, pops the pass out the back door, fires it up there to Craig Smith. He's gone very close. He's over the try line. He's scored it. George Gaitis again to take the credit. Ran out of dummy half, stood in the tackle, backed up by the big man Craig Smith, and he had enough strength to get across the try line.
Well, this is looking a little bit ominous for Country. Some great work here from City, and of course you can go back to that 40-20 kick from Thorburn. There they were close, and keeping the ball alive, it gives you so many chances. And watch the way Craig Smith rolls in that tackle. You would have thought that Country had a chance of holding him up over the try line, but he did exceptionally well in rolling away from the two defenders. There, Gaitis doing very well to get the pass away. Smith just headed straight for the line. There were three men there. He was able to elude them by rolling away and putting the ball down for the try. Good work by Craig Smith, good work by George Gaitis, and you can go right through the entire City team. A lot of them had a contribution to that try.
They're really getting Barsley in a dummy half up to Adamson, decides to hoist it. Not a good kick at all, but it might just find a bit of open territory. This could be interesting now that it's been allowed to bounce. That's play on, picked up by Country, and there's Justin Lumens. He's right in under the sticks. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might have been Lumens.
I think you're right.
Well, you just never know. There was a funny old kick there from Grant Adamson. It didn't appear that it was going to be too dangerous, but the fact that it was a bit of a half a kick meant it landed in the field of play. The awkward bounce, City got in each other's road, and all of a sudden Country have come up with the try they were after.
Yeah, it was great work. So that kick, which looked very awkward off the boot, turned out to be ideal, and the ball was actually picked up by Scott Williamson, and he was the man to go through and put it down for the try. So the try to centre Scott Williamson, and the conversion to come, and there the kick and an awkward bounce for City, and David Mulhall found himself caught wrong. He was wrong-footed completely, and all that Williamson had to do was to pick the ball up and to keep on going, and he has gone over to score the try for Country.
McPherson also got involved in this play, thought he had it covered, and they both got in each other's road. And then on the spot, Scott Williamson, he took a beeline for the try line in under the sticks. That's exactly what Country were after. He was the one who threw that long pass to Rothery. He must have thought there was a fingernail on it.
Jason Van Dyke gets it away to Luck. Michael Luck through a gap, back inside. Good support too from Coburn. Coburn's away. Can he score? Tackle just 2 or 3 metres short. Ryan's up there, wants the good quick play the ball. He might have knocked it on. No, he said play on. Van Dyke to Rothery. What a pass! And Rothery finishes it off. Country's in again, and now it's 12 points to 10.
What a sensational try. It'd be great if we can go right the way back at some stage to pick up that break by Luck, because he was straight through the line. He's the Cowboys at Colt, and Rothery was the one who finished it off with a beautiful pass by Jace Van Dyke. This is the play that we want to have a look at. This kid is a Cowboys young gun. Have a look at him. Little dummy, pace, and the ability to stand, turn it back on the inside. Danny Coburn, who's always there, the little Ipswich back rower, cut down, a little bit messy at the dummy half, but came off the foot. Have a look at this vision by Jace Van Dyke, and Wade Rothery just standing out there saying, give it to me, I've got no one in front of me. Beautiful back up here. Danny Coburn put the ears back. Well, he had the headgear on, the ears were back anyway, but he quick play the ball, and Jace Van Dyke, the vision, the peripheral vision, fires it out there to Rothery, who'd also been dangerous in a preceding play. A good pass earlier from Adamson, and this Country side are starting to muscle up. They look very strong in the forwards, and they've got enormous pace out wide, and City will need to get their minds back on the job.
Picks up 10. Now they're 30 out. Gaitis, McPherson. Well, he had a runner going infield, and look at this defence from Country. Tremendous work Kerry Parata was involved. And the other man was Michael Ryan. Now the high kick, real pressure on Country here as City follow this through. No pressure, though, in the end on Jason Barsley, and he puts it down in the end goal, and that is half-time. So not much between these two very good sides at half-time, with City leading Country by 12 points to 10, and we'll be back shortly with the highlights of that first half. There's the City of Brisbane from Langlands Park, and it's quite a sight indeed. And of course, these players representing City, I guess, are representing that self-same City up against Country. And there, quite a few spectators have come along to watch the cream of the players playing in Queensland at the moment, looking for selection in the residents team. Coming up at full time, it'll be quarter time with Warren Boland.
And Jerry, this week's guest with State of Origin upon us is the King himself, Wally Lewis. And in getting this program together, honestly, it's been just pure fun to go through the last 20 years of State of Origin, and particularly the years where Wally was involved. It would have been dull without him, wouldn't it? The greatest player of our era, and involved in so much excitement on and off the field. And in fact, it's been so interesting that we're giving the King the right royal treatment. It's going to be two parts of quarter time, from 3:45 today and again next week, two parts of Wally Lewis's story. And I think you'll find it very enjoyable just to relive the moments which were part of all of our lives, and particularly if you followed the local Brisbane Rugby League, and then which led into the Queensland Cup. A few, I suppose, moments from Wally's career back in the Valleys days and then to Wynnum Manly.
Thanks, Warren. So that's a quarter time coming up at 3:45 this afternoon, right after this rugby league match. So as soon as this game's over, you'll be able to relive the career of Wally Lewis. City players coming back out. The Country players have been out on the field for a little while. Dave.
Jerry, there's a couple of great sportsmen's luncheons coming up over the next few weeks. Brothers Rugby League Club have got a sportsmen's luncheon on Friday the 12th of May. It'll be at the Broncos Leagues Club. And anyone interested to go along to that, Trevor Bailey and Mark Coyne from the 1987 Brothers Premiership side will be the guest speakers, along with Jimmy Marr from the Queensland Bulls. Should be a great day.
David, time you run, fellas.
Ready for the second. Play underway. Country with the first touch of the ball. Awkward bounce there for Jace Van Dyke. But he was able to offload, and Simon Busby takes the tackle 20 metres out.
And Jerry, just quickly, another sportsman's function will be here at East Leagues on the 18th of May, and they'll have Steve Walters and Stevie Mortimer here to talk on that day. So anyone interested in coming to that sportsman's luncheon on the 18th, or Brothers on the 12th, certainly if you contact the respective clubs, and for Brothers you contact Desi Condon on 3366 4468.
Fifth tackle for Country, and Simon Busby has taken it into City's territory. Well, they didn't kick immediately. Jace Van Dyke, though, gets a good kick in the end, but coming across, Trent Lees from his wing is able to take the ball. He hasn't had too many opportunities in this match, Trent Lees, really, as McPherson gets the pass away to David Mulhall. And now here's a chance as well, as the break is made by Stephen Bell for City. Gets the pass away to Ireland. Ireland, he got the pace. He's going to run right away and score a try. Yes! Over goes Ireland, underneath the goal post. And immediately City are in. And that's not good news for Country, and I suppose disappointing for the Country coach, who's down on the sideline, Grant Bell, with Warren Boland.
Yes, Grant Bell, I mean, it was a very poor start to the first half, and now a disappointing start to the second.
Yeah, we certainly left ourselves a little bit open there at the start of both halves, and quick spread of the ball from Brisbane there has caught us out on the edge.
Going back to the early start in the first half, Reggie Cressbrook was all at sea against a couple of kicks from Thorburn. Any reason for that?
I think just a little bit of bruise there, and the ball both times had a strong hang time and made it very difficult for the receiver, and just probably getting used to the kick and the wind and the judgment there.
And the defence, at first it looked very strong, but then George Gatiss was causing a couple of problems for you around the ruck.
George got away a couple of times early on, but I think it was probably more on the back of some good attacking work from their side. They went forward very well through their forwards from passage there, and remembering our guys had 10 minutes without the footy at the start of the game, and that fatigues up any side.
More positively, the line breaks really started to come as the half wore on. You had to be happy with that.
Yeah, I was very happy with the way that we then concluded the remaining 30 minutes of the half. I think that we finished in a very strong position. I think we created a lot of line breaks, and I thought our guys put a lot of pressure on them.
As Scott Thorburn converts that try, so what were the instructions for the second half?
Basically, you just control the ball, value possession a little bit more, and to be prepared to use the ball to our edges where I think there is some strength there.
And just quickly, Grant, how long have you had the side? How many training runs with them?
We've been in camp for 3 days, 2.5 days of training, so it's a fairly short preparation, but I'm very happy with the way the guys have come together and the way they've approached it all.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much, Warren.
Yes, Grant Bell, the country coach, and he hasn't had a lot of time to get them together, but David, he makes an interesting comment about wanting to get the ball out wide because that's where they do have pace.
They certainly have, and City were just as intent to get the ball out wide there. It paid dividends for them when they scored the prior try, but here quick hands near their own try line is allowing Country now to put a bit of pressure on. Mulhall just couldn't handle that as it was just in behind him. Terrific chance for Country. Van Dyke to put it in. They're going to use a little blindside play. Parada tries to go himself, but good breaking cover defence by Cotter to make sure that he couldn't go all the way. Simon Busby. Country will want to hit back quickly after being stung by the first try in the second half. Big Shane O'Flanagan didn't really get the ball that allowed him to run onto it. Ryan pops it up there to Adamson. Awkward pass, that one for Anderson, and he's knocked the ball down. The defence had got up very quickly, and a man down on the touchline with Warren Boland is the City coach, Tony Curry.
TC, passages of brilliant play from City, but so far not continuous.
No, Warren, it feels like they're not in the groove that we've been training all week for, and maybe that try by Sean Island might be the catalyst to get us in the groove early. We seem to have got to 12-0 and then slipped the old accelerator pedal up, and Country come back. Full credit to them, mate.
Where do you see the threat coming from, Country?
Well, really not worried about Country's threat, mate. It's from us. It's errors like that you see. Our marker defence really was lax, and that's one of the areas we worked very, very hard and diligently with all through the week. And they've come out here and they've kind of not played it.
At 12-0, you had to be pretty happy with the way the forwards were working.
I was pretty happy, but we didn't do any fancy football, Warren. We just fell over the line. Country, I think we had 5 sets to their nothing.
So any other specific instructions for the second half?
Yeah, but I'm looking for a big effort in defence. We seem to let Country stand in the tackles and they slip that loose ball, and their forwards are very good at that. And once they cut through you, their backup is phenomenal, and rightly so. But we're just making sure that we're putting the men on the deck and our markers really around the ruck are working tough, because if we control that, I think we can go on and win this game.
All right, thanks, Tony. Good to see yourself and Grant Bell involved coaching.
Thank you, mate.
Pressure now coming from Country through O'Flanagan. They've got chances on the left. City are a bit thin out here, but they slow play the ball, which wasn't to be tolerated by the referee, Rob Alexander. Interesting. Let's hear what's got to be said.
Twice they've had a penalty. Then we start to look at other options. Okay, I want you to cooperate with me. You don't want to be off the field and you can't show your wares.
A warning for George Gatus, the number 9. Wasn't allowing Flanagan to get up quickly to play it. Ryan to take the tap up to Adamson. Back on the inside to Busby. Gaping hole into the fence. Across comes Mulhall, but he's got across the try line and held up. Well, great defence in the end by Mulhall to stop him grounding the ball. Big man Simon Busby, but he couldn't get the ball down.
I just wonder about the way he was holding the ball as he went across the line as well. You thought by that stage he might have been reaching out for the line and going low, but the City players were able to get their hand around the ball and then get underneath him, and as a result Simon Busby was not able to put it down, but a try comes anyway. I think it might be Scott Williamson. Has he gone in again? No, it's Darren Anderson.
Beautiful pass, Jerry, it was too, from Adamson. Adamson did well to hit the line and get the hand free, and a short ball up to Darren Anderson. These two players, the Burleigh teammates, and there's Adamson coming in to give him a bit of a pat as well, to say that's what we were after. From the base of the scrum, straight up to Adamson, takes the defence on, looks for support. Nice work by Darren Anderson to get himself between players, get near the ball carrier, look for the short ball, because that was the only ball Adamson was going to be in a position to offload. And Darren Anderson uses the teamwork to capitalise on just that split second. You don't get a lot of time to stand in a tackle like that, and Adamson had just enough time to look up and see his Burleigh teammate, and Jace Van Dyke now can get it back to a 2-point margin. shouldn't be a problem for him as he knocks it straight down the middle. Another tight ball game at 18-16. Still in favour of City.
Country continue to play catch-up, but they're staying well within range. 18-16. And here it is with Grant Adamson. That useful step he has off the left foot, and beautiful positional play by Darren Anderson to put himself in the slot and run the right line. Good try to Country. And just come to my notice, Bruce Atkinson from ABC Radio is here today, and he's just told me that down the other end of the field in the first half, one of the Country players came from the field complaining that he had been bitten by a City player, and he put the allegation to the referee, and he said Rob Anderson didn't seem Rob Alexander didn't seem too interested in it. We might hear a little bit more about that after the game.
That's an interesting one. That's Busby, who was the man who was held up over the line that brought about the loose head and feed scrum that Country scored immediately from. It's Michael Luck, now up to O'Flanagan. Country needed to hit back quickly. Parata, who's been involved in everything. Again, the ability to just get his hands free. Wasn't able to do it there, but he's done it plenty of times today. Michael Ryan goes too close to the marker, but managed to shrug out of the attempted tackle by Craig Smith. The little kid, Ryan, is quick out of dummy half, but you do need to scoot away from the markers. This is the fifth and last, just picked up by Adamson. He'll try a little knockdown play, but he's kicked it too far in the end. Taken on the full there by Sean Ireland. And he does pretty well to get it back more infield and put the defence under a little bit of pressure. Steve Bell goes on with the job.
So City find themselves back in their own territory once more. McPherson slips the pass away now. Out wide, Baildon. Beautiful tackle from Reggie Crespo. Copybook tackle indeed. Back inside now, Craig Smith. Caught about 15 short of the halfway line. Just 2 points in the match. 18-16 in favour of City. Big Rob Campbell can't get away from Ali Brown. Right around his leg. Oh, he got the pass away nicely to Stephen Bell. Bell into the clear. A look inside for support. Ireland is there, and so also is Matt Bickerstaff. And Bickerstaff scores the try for City. Oh, great length of the field stuff from City. Good backup play and a tremendous run there from Bell.
You'd have to enjoy that try if you like rugby league. The big fellow Bob Campbell somehow got a hand free, but not only that, was able to get plenty of distance in this pass. Flicks it out to Steve Bell. He was the one who set up the earlier try for City. Hits the accelerator, goes straight through. Have a look at the pass here in front of Bickerstaff. He threw that pass, and Bickerstaff, I reckon, ran another 3 metres to finally get a hold of it. That was the timing of it. Here's a big fellow in Campbell. Long pass with one hand under attention, but Steve Bell goes through. Look back on the inside. The pass was perfect to Bickerstaff. Allowed the kid to run onto the ball, and City have hit back very, very nicely from deep inside their own territory with good backup of their own. We've been giving Country credit for making busts and backing up. Well, City have shown that they can do the same. 35 metres out. Great platform form for Country. Parata, he's looked good today. Bumps away a couple of attempted tackles. Jace Van Dyke got Luck on the outside. Luck will get his hands free. No, he won't need to. He's got his legs free. Michael Luck, this kid is good. Has he got it down? Yes, he has. As we said, the Cowboy young gun, what potential he's got. Michael Luck busts through. I thought he was only going to get his hands free, but instead kept the legs pumping, busted through the tackle, and went on and scored the try.
Well, if you've got Luck on your side, you've got to end up with points, and that's exactly David Wright said it. He said he's got Jason Van Dyke has got Luck, and there he is, Luck himself, heading for the try. And I tell you what, that wasn't lucky. That was pure, straight, tough work from the youngster to go over and score the try. He showed great determination. It was just a case of keeping the ball moving. Good pass from Van Dyke, and he was able to break the first tackle, and then as the cover defence arrived, he forced his way across the try line for a very handy try for Country to reduce the margin again to 4 points. It's 24-20. Tairahana plays the ball from dummy half, goes Ireland as he scored. Yes! Try number 3 for Sean Ireland, and City is in again. And a terrific result for them because Country at various stages looked like they were coming back into the match. But they've led all the way, City, and they at times have seemed to have let off the pace. But here we see this great inside pass. And
nice work from Thorburn, who's played very well today. Ireland just cruises into the dummy half position. He's backed up to score a couple of long-distance tries. That's his third one in this second half, and he shows strength to get over from dummy half. So the pace and skill to back up from a long way out, and also the strength and determination to score it from in close to put it beyond doubt now. City have led all the way. They skipped away to a 12-point lead after only 8 minutes, and they've been under threat on a couple of occasions where Country have hit back within a couple of points. They've never been able to get on level pegging or get in front, Country. And Scott Thorburn now, it's merely academic now with this kick to come.
Yes, so it has remained a football game right up until now with just a minute left, and City have sealed it now. Scott Thorburn comes in with the conversion attempt and he puts it through, and so City leading by 36 points to 22, and the full-time hooter is probably only about 15 or 20 seconds away. So it's been a good performance really, I guess, from both teams, and there have been some impressive efforts by Country players as well as the City players, so it's not going to be easy selecting a Queensland residence. Well, Country have got the ball back. So what can they do with it as it goes to Damon Keating, finding a hole in the middle of the field, is able to slip the pass in support. Now out wide, a chance again. Kicked ahead by Luck, and then kicked further ahead, but it goes into touch, and that's full time. So at least they kept on fighting to the end, Country, but they've gone down by 14 points in the end, with City coming up with a 36-22 victory over Country, and probably that score in the end probably a little bit tough on Country, but certainly we saw some very entertaining rugby leagues from two very talented football teams, and I think that little things like line breaks and so forth that really highlighted today that what we saw were outstanding individuals who can do wonderful things with the football. Rob Campbell, for example, they're the two coaches together, Tony Curry and Grant Bell. And Grant Bell sort of there with the hands through the hair. They don't look like opponents at all, do they? So discussing, no doubt, the relative merits of their team's performances in that game. And there's some of the players. They'd certainly be feeling it because it's been an afternoon when they had to put their best on the line to see what they could come up with and see if they can get selection in the Queensland residents team. It'll be a big night for those who are selected on Wednesday night. They'll be down at Stadium Australia playing the curtain raiser to the State of Origin. So a big crowd and something to cherish, I suppose, the opportunity of playing for Queensland. Let's go down to Warrnambool, and he's got the man of the match, George Gaitis.
George involved in those first two tries, and that gave City a very handy 12-0 lead early on.
Yeah, it was a good constant boost for myself and got the side in a good roll, so I was very happy.
A couple of times in the second half as well, the City seemed to just go to sleep somewhat, but then I noticed you got into dummy half, made a couple of good dashes out, and that gave you the momentum once more.
Yeah, it was just very sort of pretty physical game. It was going pretty fast, and a bit of the boys started struggling up the middle, opened up a bit of holes for myself, so it was good.
Is it hard putting together a side and having the combination on just a few training runs together?
Oh, I think it's just a state of mind, really. You know, the boys, we trained very well and we got together, had we were good team spirit, and we sort of showed it today.
Must have been both exciting and frustrating because there was some brilliant football played at times, but a bit of drop ball as well.
Yeah, I think it's just the conditions, you know. I mean, it's starting to get towards the winter end of the season. It's still a bit warm and a bit tired, so scrums are a good break.
You'll be looking forward, though, to making that residence team to play in the curtain raiser to the State of Origin?
Oh, it's been a lifelong dream of mine to pull on a Maroon jersey. If it happens, I'll be very happy.
All right, we wish you all the best with it.
Yeah, can I just say hello to my friends and family back home and say a special hello to my friend Tony Crooks. He's struggling for a bit of health at the moment and hope he gets well soon.
Good on you, George.
Yeah, well done, George. He had an outstanding game, and there's every chance that he will be selected in that Queensland residents team. Down on the sideline as well as David Wright, and he's got Tony Curry, the City coach.
Tony, a big win in the end, but certainly the Country boys made you work for it.
Yeah, David, I'll tell you, every time we'd score a try, we'd let them back in with another try, and I just, I was waiting for one team to say, let's not have tit for tat and go on with it, and unfortunately it was the City boys.
You had a game earlier, about a month ago here at Langlands Park against the Sydney Metropolitan side. That would have been a help to you, I guess?
Well, it was, but we had about 9 or 10 changes, mate. That wasn't the same side, but we had a very, very good week, and it was a low key. You know, we went in as underdogs, having not won it for a few years, and you know, the boys really found their way in the 20 minutes towards the end of the half. So,
yeah, just tell us about what you did this week, well, in preparation.
Yeah, we had a bit of a team structure, you know, kick return pattern, all that, a little bit of defensive work, and unfortunately in some cases it didn't work, and you know, really they toughed it out and gutsed it out up there, but you know, I guess the main part of the camp this week was low key, get to know each other.
Sure. Sean Ireland scored 3 tries in the second half. He was pretty handy for you.
Yeah, I thought Sean would play a little bit of a part in this game. He's very, very quick, and I actually coached him at London. He was one of my young colts that came across in London, and I knew how he could play. And, you know, a Siri Lane coming into the forward role, and obviously unloaded a great pass for a try as well. So it combined well.
All right, well done today, Tony.
Thanks, David.
Yes, Tony Curry, the country coach, the city coach rather, and the country coach was Grant Bell. He's with Warren Boland.
Grant Bell, you're always coming from behind today.
Yeah, that made it tough. I think it makes it hard for a team and their approach to the game when you are coming from behind. We talked at half-time about the difficult start, and I think it sort of laid a bit of a platform for Brisbane to just keep their nose in front.
Would you have liked them to have taken that penalty to even it up at 24 all?
Yeah, players have got to make their own decisions, but I think at that stage of the game I would have been taking the 2. It would have just been nice for us to at least be even with them at one stage in the game, and I think that would have had a different mental approach for the rest of the team.
Who are you happiest with in your side?
I think there are a number of players who played particularly strongly. I think our back row, I thought Ali Brown played very well. I thought Kerry Prada played particularly well. I thought Michael Luck played very strongly in the back row there. And also probably the young fella from Cairns, young Jace Barsley, I thought played particularly well at the back, but there were some good performances and probably no bad performances in what was a very physical game, just a few times where maybe a different roll of the dice we might have got a better result.
All right, Grant, well done. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Warren.
Grant Bell, the country coach, and so victory to City over country by 36 points to 22, and it was an interesting close match most of the way, but City just a little bit too strong. There is the City of Brisbane. They're the victors today by 14 points. Next week we're back with the Queensland Cup. It's Wests against Toowoomba at Turtle Park. Join us then.